Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. What a relaxing intro that was to start the day, James. And this is, as usual, the Thursday edition of Betting Weekly Live. We're going to be covering all the matches in the Europa League and Conference League. Probably the last really big day of a massive slate, James, on these competitions. It's been a hell of a ride for us.
Yeah, it has indeed, Steve. Yeah, these rounds where we've got 8 games in the Europa League, 8 games in the Conference League, they've been fascinating, haven't they? Because there's so many games to run through. But obviously we're narrowing down now towards the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals. So it's the last time we'll be doing this with a run-through of all 16 matches taking place today. And as ever, as with the first leg last week, some fascinating matchups.
It certainly is. All the talk yesterday, of course, revolving the Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid last 16 tie, the controversy about the Julian Alvarez penalty, and it affected several Bet Rivers big wagers. There was nearly $6,000 on Real Madrid to go through live at minus 136. That won. On the flip side, a $5,000 play on Atletico Madrid to go through minus 120. That was a loser. So split right down the middle there. Several losers on Lille yesterday, James, on the money line and also on the draw. Dortmund again. I mean, Lille, I can't help but feel have let a big chance slip through.
I think so too, Steve. I think it's one of the easier draws they could have had in the last 16. Dortmund are obviously a very good team, but there are obviously better teams in the competition. So it is a big chance missed. I think the experience that Dortmund have got in Europe maybe made the difference. They looked pretty confident to me from the get-go yesterday, did Dortmund. They took the game to Lille. They were really positive, and Lille didn't have many answers to that, did they? So they have come up short, Lille. But you're right. I think they will have tripped a lot of people up after the 1-1 draw they managed in the first leg, because they looked pretty good away from home in Germany, and they weren't able to get it done yesterday. So, yeah, I can imagine that's been quite costly for quite a few bettors.
And there was a big championship wager yesterday on my own team, Leeds United, minus 1.5 on the Asian handicap. Happy to say that was a winner, nearly $5,000 play. So I'm sure Leeds didn't let anyone down yesterday. I correctly called the under as well there. Welcome in, everyone. Cree 357 says, are we backing Man United today? He's going to be on the unders. You could see penalties. We'll be talking about that much later, Cree. I don't think we'll be backing Man United. Just a hint. Duncan Evans, good to see you. Ming Chung. Paul Laguna, I know he was on Atletico Madrid on penalties, just like Will White suggested yesterday, 14-1. I don't think there was a double hit. Honestly, that is my personal opinion, and I can't believe that they only had like a couple of looks at it and awarded the penalty as a miss. But, you know, that is UEFA for you. Peter Chalkins, good to see you. Villa fan 20, you've got to be really excited about the draw against PSG. Can Unai Emery get one over his old club?
Yeah.
I mean, big underdog Villa, but
well, do you know what? The more I've thought about it today, the more I think that maybe Villa are slightly underrated there. There's so much passion and positivity around Paris this week after what they did to Liverpool. Exceptional performance to go through over the 2 legs, but there are some real match winners, aren't there, in that Villa team? And one thing Paris Saint-Germain, in my opinion, do lack are match winners. Great team effort and lots of positives about the way they set up. I don't know. I've been looking at that game quite closely since Paris and Villa went through. We'll have to wait and see. I can understand PSG. Listen, they should be the favourites, shouldn't they? But Villa, to me, they look quite an interesting selection.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of time to assess that game after the international break, of course. But welcome in Joe Bamba. Nice to see you. Nice to see him giving Kit Kat a mention as well. He's fast asleep right now. Maybe some of the picks might wake him up. Dave Clark, Ginepi, Real Brandon King, good to see you. Mate SK, Byron Murrell as well. And Broilo Charles, always Nice to have you around there. Paul Laguna's liking Matt Lazio on the handicap today. Put your best bets in the chat, whatever you are taking. Loads of matches in the Conference League, Europa League, other sports as well. Most welcome. And we're going to start with that Lazio game, actually. No, we're going to start with the draw because our graphics man, John, has updated the draw there. Obviously, he's put the first leg scores in. So this is a reminder where Lazio are in this bracket here. Lazio or Viktoria Plzen will be facing Bodo, Glimt or Olympiakos in the quarterfinals. Lazio with an incredible late winner at, and I've got the wrong graphic up already there. Lazio have, 2-1 win there with 9 men, James, against Viktoria Plzen. I thought they really struggled in the second half in that game. We both suggested as a pick last week, both teams score yes at, I think it was plus money. And you know what? I think that's the bet again myself. Yeah. I actually do. I think Viktoria Plzen have only failed to score in 2 out of 15 European games this season. So they will go. They have to score anyway. Otherwise, they're out of the competition. I think Lazio will beat them. But I think Plzen can score in this game. Minus 245 on Lazio, 7-1 on Plzen. I've got down here 2-1 win for Lazio. It could be 3-1, but I do think the Czech side will go down swinging.
I've got exactly the same correct score, Steve. I'm going 2-1 Lazio. I think you're all right. Viktoria Plzen have done well, haven't they, in the competition this season? They've got nothing to lose here, and they're still competitive in the tie. It's only a goal difference going into this second leg. So it's gone to form so far. I think Lazio will go through. But I tend to agree with you. I think Plzen can have a real go here. Overs looks the call to me. Worth pointing out, over the 16 games we had last week across the Europa League and the Conference League, 11 of those 16 games went over 2.5 goals. Now, I know over 2.5 goals will be a really short price on some of these matches, but the stat still stands. 3 goals or more in some of these games, you might find a way to play from game to game, over 2.75 on the Asian line, over 3 goals in certain games. So that's just a general point on how it went last week. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think Lazio should get the win, but Viktoria Plzen can have a real go here. So I didn't have a pick or a lean on the match, but I've gone 2-1 on the correct scoreline.
I think both teams score yes at minus 105 is worth a go here. Lazio are a funny side. I think they are good when they play well, but they can have some flat spots in games. They could definitely go through here and concede a goal at the same time. So I think minus 105. I'm very happy to pull the trigger on that one. Again, T-Son Kingsley said Atletico will win 1-0 and it goes to penalties. You're absolutely right about that. And Will White was very unlucky. It was if Atletico had gone through on penalties, that would have been one of the best calls we've ever seen on Betting Weekly Live. It was a 14-1, I think it was. Potentially bigger, actually. Maybe it was nearly 18 at one point in heading into the game. Noah Goodman says both teams score yes in all major games today, and you won't go far wrong. So he's looking for a 5-leg parlay. Which matches are you going to do, Noah? Because I do think there's more chance of goals in the second leg in this Europa League as well. So plenty of money on Lazio in that game. 95% of the tickets. There's a big bet on over 1.5 goals at minus 450, but there is nearly $3,000 on that. Let's go to the top game on the card. It's going to be the Athletic Bilbao game. This is a really rough section. Roma or Athletic Bilbao face Rangers or Fenerbahce in the quarterfinal 3 there. And I think this is the headline game of the day for me. Athletic Bilbao, Roma, it was a great first leg. Bilbao minus 114 to win. They are 2-1 down, so they have to win, otherwise they're out of the competition. We've got their over 2.5 goals is plus money. Your newsletter pick for the week is on this game, James. I will reveal it is both teams to score yes. You can probably explain that one now here. And also there's a house special, which might have been just for you personally, James, to tempt people in even more. How about both teams to score in the first half at plus 380? That is a really generous house special, which I know you're in love with. Yeah,
I think it's a great price because, like you've said, Steve, I fancy both teams to score anyway here. Obviously, chances of it happening just in the first half are smaller, but I think they're really good odds because I think it will be an open game, this, and I think there's big factors in favour of both teams. On Athletic Club, first of all, they've got a great home record in the competition this season. They've won 4 out of 4 at home. They have to go for it. They're 2-1 down. from the first leg. So, they're going to go for it. And Roma go into it in great form generally, don't they? I think they've won 7 of their last 8 in all competitions, 7-1-0, 7 wins, 1 draw, no defeats in their last 8. So we've seen them play really well in Italy. We've seen them do well in Europe as well under Ranieri. So I think both teams here will be confident. And we saw a good game last week, which finished 2-1. I'm actually going for the same correct score as last week, just the other way round in 90 minutes. I'm going Athletic Club to win 2-1 in 90 minutes. This could be one of those games that goes to extra time and penalties because it's really close. There's not a lot to pick between them. I know on the to qualify market, Roma are well clear, actually. They're minus 167 to qualify. Athletic Club are 135. That might pull people in. But yeah, I think both teams to score. Really like the house special. Should be a great game. And I agree with you, Steve. I think this is a headline match of the day.
Yeah, I've got the same score here, 2-1. I'm going to follow you in on your both teams to score bet. And do you know what? I think this is going to be an absolute firecracker. I mean, both teams are going to throw the kitchen sink here. Effie's on about, but the final is in Bilbao. But also, I mean, with Roma, this is their last chance of silverware. They've got some passion about them. I've actually got a gut feeling Roma qualify. And it might be really difficult for them at times in this game. I think they might suffer. They're probably second best on the night, but they might find a way to go through eventually. Not sure in which actual fashion. I think Athletic Bilbao to win by 1 goal exactly might be worth a go here. So you could look at the 3-way spread, the European handicap, as we call it, Dan Roebuck's favourite market, plus 260, Athletic Bilbao. You start on the 0-1, and the tie is plus 255. It's basically Athletic Bilbao to win by exactly 1 goal. I think they could do worse than that. I really do. Plenty, as I say, the house special, do get involved in that if you like it. And we think there could be some goals in this game. And the first half, they're both going to come out really strong. Really split with the money line here. 55% of the money is on Bilbao. So obviously there's quite a few Roma backers out there as well. Dan Roebuck, he's in the house. He's in. He said he was going to be watching today. What do you think, Dan? 3-way spread. The Athletic Bilbao to win one by 1 goal exactly, plus 255. I'm sure he's going to be on it. We move to Eintracht Frankfurt against Ajax. Frankfurt minus 112 on the money line. The surprise result for me last week here. Yes. They're actually getting the victory in Amsterdam. I'm not ruling out Ajax to come back here in the second leg. In fact, you might be worth a little bit of pizza money on them at plus 280. However, they might have the Eredivisie title on their minds as well. Surprisingly good performance from Eintracht Frankfurt last week, James. There's a couple of suspensions here which might play a part in your main bet for the game.
Yeah, it was a surprise. They did really well, didn't they, to win 2-1 away in Amsterdam. I don't think many people saw that coming. I'm the same as you, though. I don't rule out Ajax here. I think at plus 280 to win in 90 minutes, that's quite appealing. I think plus 450 on Ajax to qualify is quite appealing. They're obviously the outsiders, having lost the first leg 2-1, but I can see them still making a contest of it. And yeah, my main pick on the game is over 2.75 goals here, minus 113 on over 2.75 goals. So 3 goals in 90 minutes will give you a winning play here. I just think it's what we saw last week from them. We saw 2 teams who are better going forward than defensively. We saw an Eintracht Frankfurt side away from home who were really positive. And I think Ajax will do the same here. Got nothing to lose. We're seeing a comment there about no interest in this game because their focus is elsewhere. I think their focus might be elsewhere, but I do still think they'll have an interest in the game. I think they will have a go here. So I can't see anything other than an open match. And I think over 2.75 goals at minus 113, the fact that you can cash there with 3 goals rather than just getting your stakes back with 3 goals, I think is really appealing. So that's my pick on the game. It's over 2.75 goals at minus 113. But like I say, I quite like the look of some of those prices on Ajax to either win in 90 minutes or to qualify.
Yeah, Jan Phillips' comments got me thinking there about saying Frankfurt is the better side, and we were talking on the Euro show today we recorded about rankings. There's going to be a new rankings in the newsletter that's going to come out. We're going to have a new weekend newsletter now, so do subscribe to that if you're not already. But are Frankfurt? I mean, I think they're 5th in the Bundesliga, 4th in the Bundesliga, a better side than at the moment. Ajax seem to be the best team in the Netherlands. So where do you think they are?
It's hard to say. I mean, that's why I think the new rankings, the Bet Rivers Power Rankings, are just such an exciting and fascinating read, because you've got all these games in Europe this week where you're pitching teams from different leagues together, and it does give you a different perspective on things. We just go back to the Lille versus Dortmund game last night. Lille qualified as one of the top 8 teams in the Champions League. They were straight through to the knockout stage, but then they've lost over 2 legs to Dortmund. So it is sometimes difficult to really gauge these sides until we get to this end of the season and we start to see the top sides play off against each other. But it's a really interesting point, because we were quite strong on Ajax, weren't we, last week? And they were in good form. We have to say they went into the game in really good form, and Frankfurt didn't in their domestic league, but Frankfurt have won the first leg. So listen, let's wait and see what happens tonight. Like I say, I think Ajax can still be competitive here, but this is where rankings across leagues become A, difficult, but B, can be really useful and really interesting.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, that's a good pick from you. Good looking pick from you there. I think over 2.75 goals. It seems quite a lot of the comments here are saying that Ajax are going to favour the league more than this match tonight. So Effie's best bets there. He's going Frankfurt money line, team totals -1. He's all in. He's absolutely loading up the boat on Frankfurt. And, I think Dortmund are the 3rd best German team, despite their league position. After that, I don't really know are Frankfurt the 4th best team in Germany? It's difficult to say. Mainz having a good season. The Red Bulls don't seem to have any wings anymore. So, maybe Frankfurt are a little bit better. They did win this competition, of course, didn't they? About 4 years ago, along those lines. Good win. It was Glasner, wasn't it, who got the win for them? The money is on Frankfurt for this game, by the way, 69% of the money and over 70% of the tickets. Producer Troy came up with some good stats there. The most popular tickets on the plays, Lazio on the money line, the most popular, followed by Spurs, Lyon, Man United and Frankfurt. So Frankfurt do make the top 5 in terms of the most popular bets on the money line. Okay, Europa League into the final game, the early kickoffs, Olympiakos against Bodo Glimt. I was mightily proud of one of my favourite teams in the first leg. Bodo Glimt with a 3-0 win against. It was the first defeat for Olympiakos in, I think, 27 games in all competitions. They bounced back well with a good win against PAOK, and they are the Greek league leaders. They're probably going to go on and win the Greek championship. So I don't think here, James. They're -182 to win. Over 2.5 goals is at -143, plus 500 to qualify. I don't think the Greeks will just lie down and accept this. I think Bodo Glimt are going to have to score a goal here to go through. So it's the goals for me. Yeah, it's got to be the goals. I'm going back over 2.75 goals here as my best bet of the day. Olympiakos have to score 3 anyway to qualify, to have any chance of qualifying. But I do think Glimt can get a goal on the counter attack. It's -148 now and over 2.5 goals, -118 for over 2.75. That would be my best bet of the day. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, well, I think some games where it's 3-0 from the first leg, you can kind of write them off or find them difficult to bet on. I don't think this is one of those games. The reason being, I think when the team who have lost 3-0 are a side who are in generally good form, as Olympiakos are, I think they still think they're competitive. It'd be a different matter if they were in generally poor form, they were slipping towards mid-table in their domestic division, and then they lost 3-0 away from home. Then they might think, you know what, this tie's all over. But Olympiakos have been simply playing too well and having too many good results to do that. So I agree with you, Steve. I think they'll come out swinging here. They know they can't hang around. They're 3-0 down. They've got to start from the opening whistle. They got a good record at home in Europe this season. They're unbeaten in 6. They've won 4 of those games. So yeah, I'm the same as you. I think they'll have a go. Do I think they can overcome a 3-0 first leg defeat? Not really. But I think the market shows that the market doesn't think it's a completely dead rubber game either. I mean, Bodo Glimt are -770 to qualify. Yeah, but they're not -2,000 or -3,000, even though they've got a 3-0 lead from the first leg. So let's wait and see what happens. I think obviously the first 30 minutes of this game will be crucial. If Olympiakos go 1-0 up in that period, then it's going to be a really competitive game. It's different these days, isn't it, with no away goals rule? I think if Bodo Glimt had got an away goal in the old days and left Olympiakos needing a 5-1 win, it might have been all over. But, let's wait and see what happens. So, yeah, I can see the goals being the way to play it, because Olympiakos will have a real go, in my opinion, and it should then be an open game. I don't have a pick or lean on the match, but like I say, I do still think this tie is alive. Yeah,
I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for Olympiakos. I think it could get a bit nervous towards the end for Glimt. But I do think they can score. I think they'll get chances on the break. And a player that worth watching out for in the prop market here, Kasper Wartz-Ho, to score any time, plus 380. He's on the penalties. He's having a really good pre-season. He scored last week. I think he's going to be the top scorer in the Norwegian Eliteserien this season if he stays fit. And they create a lot of chances. So he's well worth a go. Over 2.75 goals for me. What's your correct score prediction here,
My
James?
correct score prediction here is 2-1 Olympiakos.
2-1 to Olympiakos. I'm going in the Ajax game. I'm actually predicting Ajax to win 2-1.
Same here, Steve. Exactly the same. 2-1 Ajax win to keep that tie alive and take it into extra time.
Jan Phillip does make a good point about Brobby and Henderson. Henderson suspended. There is a suspension in the defence for Frankfurt. It's Collins, I do believe, is ruled out at the back there for them. Let's move to the Conference League then. As a reminder, here is the draw. Chelsea's section is Copenhagen there against Chelsea, Mulder against Lecce Warsaw. An interesting section we are going to look at is that bottom right quarter. Pafos or Djurgården will face Rapid Vienna or Borac Banja Luka. We're going to start off, though, we say in Vienna there. Minus 250 for Rapid Vienna. Now, I want to see more from Rapid Vienna before I want to commit to them at minus 250. They should be beating Borac Banja Luka, but there's something about this plucky Bosnian team who find a way to get a result. And Rapid Vienna's form since the winter break's not been very good, James. I can't really recommend a bet on this game. I think Rapid Vienna will win it, but I don't want to pull any triggers.
Yeah, I'm the same, Steve. I think they should win it, and I think they will win it. I've gone 1-0 to Rapid Vienna on the correct score market, but I'm the same as you. I looked at those prices. Rapid Vienna minus 250 to win in 90 minutes. And Rapid Vienna 500, minus 500 to go through. I would not be getting involved in those prices because, like you say, their current form is the concern here. I think they've lost 4 of their last 6 in all competitions. They only drew the first leg 1-1 last week, so I don't have a great deal of faith in them. I think they should win it, and I can see it being a narrow win, but I think the prices have no appeal at all, given how they're playing. I think there's just no point getting involved in this game. Looking across all the markets, I couldn't see anything on this. So, yeah, that's my view of it. I think, as I say, Rapid Vienna, narrow win to go through. 1-0 would be my correct score prediction, but no bet, no pick for me.
Nish says the Greeks will not go away easy. I do agree there, Nish. I think they will give it some good fight against Bodo Glimt there. Do you know what's interesting? Just looking at some comments here, me and you there. I'm going to predict 2-0. Mate SK says Rapid Vienna and under 3.5. I mean, I looked at win to nil for Rapid Vienna, and it's at minus 105. I think it will be low scoring game. Borac Banja Luka will set their stall out to defend. This time, they ground out a 0-0 draw at Ljubljana in the previous round. Ljubljana missed a penalty. Maybe they won't be as lucky this time. But yeah, minus 250. I don't really want to bet them on that.
No.
Effie says Rapid team total over 1.5 goals. If that golfing class does prove apparent, then Duncan with a lovely pun there means nothing to me. Rapid Vienna. I love that one. I like that one.
Excellent.
Okay, Conference League early games. Let me just get there again. Djurgarden against Pafos, one of your favourite teams, James. Yeah. I think you did well to get out of a half loss in the previous round. Pafos did dominate the game. Didn't take their chances, and we've said that before. They miss quite a lot of opportunities. They have a lot of shots with low XG and things like that. Yeah. And they only won 1-0, and I've got a feeling they're going to regret it. I think they needed to... Whilst they're on top so much, I think they needed 2 or 3 goals there because this is completely different. They are going away from home in Stockholm here, plus 180 Djurgarden. I'm really surprised of their odds here because this is on an artificial surface. 20,000 fans are going to show up. And I can tell you now, this is in a very intimidating place. The fans in Sweden are actually quite boisterous. They're quite volatile, really. I think the Pafos players are going to be hit hard here with a wave of issues. And I think Djurgarden are a pretty good underdog.
Yeah, well, I left this alone as a pick or a lean. And I kind of left it for you, Steve. I mean, you know a lot more about the home side here, but I do agree with you. I think Pafos has missed their chance here because this is a really tough game for them, not only because of what they're going to be facing, as you've just described, but also because their own away form isn't particularly impressive. I think they've only won 1 out of 7 away from home in Europe this season, and they've lost 4. So this is a team that's not been travelling particularly well. It's only a 1-goal lead. I am surprised they're favourites. I mean, they're favourites not just to go through. I mean, you can kind of make sense of that because they're 2-1 up in the tie. They're favourites to win on the night in 90 minutes. It doesn't make a great deal of sense to me when you look at their away record in Europe. So, yeah, Djurgadens, draw no bet, something like that, or double chance. No, maybe draw no bet more than double chance would be worth looking at. I think plus 180 is big when you consider Pafos a plus 150. So might be one of those games where the prices are the wrong way round. I've obviously followed Pafos a little bit in the last few rounds. I was more focused on them than the home side, but you make a good case there, Steve, because they are competitive, are the hosts here. And if that's what the atmosphere is going to be like against a team who haven't done well away from home in Europe, then might be a good opportunity this to get with the home team.
I think the stakes are really high. Both teams are going to give it everything. I mean, this is a massive opportunity to get to a quarterfinals of the Conference League. In fact, I actually think whoever wins this got a massive chance of making the semi-final, because I don't really think Rapid Vienna and Borac Banja Luka are anything special, or they're certainly beatable.
Yeah.
So I think Djurgården draw no bet minus 103 is. I'm going to predict 1-0. I think this goes to extra time. Myself,
yes. Well, I have gone same-ish in terms of extra time. I've gone 2-1 home win. So same as you.
Yeah, I think this could go all the way, maybe even to penalties. But I think Djurgården are. I thought they'd be definitely the favourite on the money line. I'm surprised they're the dog, and they do need to improve. I'll be honest, they do need to improve the performance from last week. I'll say that, but I think they can improve it, especially with home advantage. Another player to watch out for, I mentioned him last week, and it's Toki Nguyen. Where is he? His price is plus 310 to score. He did have a couple of chances last week. I thought he should have got on the back of hit the back of the net, but he wasted them. Back to some early conference games, and your Lugano against Celje, 2 teams who, I mean, this is 4th in the Swiss league against 5th in the Slovenian league. This is a pretty low quality matchup, really. And I mean, I couldn't back Lugano with monopoly money at minus 162. They've lost their last 5 games in all competitions. Yeah. I mean, I think the Slovenian team will probably go through. Is there some value on them? I don't know. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, same as you, Steve. I found this very difficult to call. I think these are 2 teams which are very hard to read, aren't they? Because Lugano, we said it earlier on on an earlier show, they started the season domestically pretty well. They've obviously slipped since then. You've mentioned they're in really poor form going into it. Celje, I don't have a particularly good read on in this competition this season, I've got to say. So I've gone with no bet here, no lean, no pick, nothing like that. I've gone 1-0 to Lugano on the correct score market, which would level the tie up. 1-0 to Celje last week. It's really close. If you look at the to qualify market, this is actually the closest of the 8 games in the Conference League, according to the market. Lugano are plus 100 to go through. Celje are minus 125 to go through. So clearly the market believes they're well matched as well. And I think, looking at that, I think a 1-0 home win, which would take the game to extra time, wouldn't surprise me at all. But I didn't have strong views on this. I think these are 2 teams who've been really difficult to read.
This match is played at a neutral venue, of course, at the Stockholm Arena in Thun, which is actually 200 miles away from Lugano. They are unbeaten at this venue this season, though, in Europe, which is a good point. And, it can be, this is right in the mountains, actually, near the in the Swiss Alps. So, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win. So I think Lugano are in no form whatsoever, but no result would surprise me here, really, at all. I don't think, is anyone liking a bet in this game? I think it's a tough one, actually. Quite a good one to skip, really. Let's move on to the final early game in the Conference League. This is Cercle Brugge against Jagiellonia Bialystok. I'm really surprised Cercle Brugge are minus money to win. Here they're 3-0 down, but they're also in the relegation zone of the Belgian league. I mean, that surely has to be a priority here. Efi Briofsky has come up with a draw no bet here on Jagiellonia Bialystok, and I do agree with that one, Efi. I think that's a good bet here, plus 165, because Cercle Brugge, I'm not even sure they're that good anyway. They lost their best striker, Denki, to the MLS in Cincinnati, and I think they've got other things on their mind. I think Jagiellonia Bialystok win.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said earlier, didn't I, on the Olympiakos game just now, that some 3-0 first leg ties results, the tie's still alive. I don't think that's the case here, because I think Cercle Bruges at home, having got that 3-0 beating last week, I just think they'll have moved on, because like you say, they've got that relegation battle to deal with in Belgium, which is far more important now. And also, unlike the situation with Olympiakos, who are 3-0 down in their tie, Cercle Bruges have got absolutely no form at all, have they? Because I think they're without a win in 8 games now. They've drawn 5 of those, but they can't win a match, and they need to win this big to have any chance. So I didn't really have a view on it. I take the point about Jagiellonia there on the draw no bet, or finding a way to support them. And I agree with you, Steve. I think Cercle Bruges at minus money makes no sense, because they don't have the form, and I'm not sure they've got the motivation here. The only issue I have is I'm very reluctant to get involved in a side who are this far clear in a tie to get a result on the night. I just think it can be a tricky one, because the players go into it. Yeah, they're going to want to get the job finished, and they're going to want to be competitive. But at the same time, they do know they can lose it 1-0, maybe even 2-0, and still go through. So it's one of those where if a goal went against them, say it was a penalty decision or something like that, and they're 1-0 down, are they actually going to go all out to try and make it 1-1? I'm not so sure. They might, depending when that goal happened, they might then settle for the 1-0 defeat, knowing that would be enough. So that's my only reservation. But I think the broader point is they've been by far the better side from what we saw last week, and they look really good to me. We did flag them up as having done pretty well in the group stage, and this tie looks all over to me. Cercle Bruges plus 800 to go through. Jagiellonia minus 2,000. I think that is fair, because I think this one is done and dusted.
I do. I think Cercle Bruges, stick a fork in them, they're done. I think the draw no bet plus 165 is worth a go on the Polish team here. Punter says he doesn't think Jagiellonia will rotate. Cups are a priority for them. Even if they do rotate, they might have enough anyway. I think they're a lot better than Cercle Bruges. In the relegation zone, the Belgian league. Got to add that one. And the money is for them as well. 90% of the money's on Jagiellonia Bialystok here. So that doesn't surprise me, considering how last week went. But onto the late games then. These kick off at 2 p.m. Eastern, I think these will be. And there's some tasty ties in the Europa League. There really is some tasty ones here. Tottenham, AZ, Alkmaar. You've got a bet on this game, James. Tottenham minus 265, minus 143 to qualify. I mean, I really want to try and oppose Spurs in this game. And I'm trying to work out the best way to do it, because I'm not having them here. I don't fully trust them at all. That said, though, this is really the whole season depends on this match. So that is massive motivation, which kind of makes me a little bit scared. And the team news is more favourable for Spurs than it was. But would you trust some of these players to even last a half with their injury record? I don't know. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm the same. You've said it about Tottenham and how important this competition is, but they're one of those teams where I'm not sure the fact that everything's riding on a game makes that much difference. Will it get the best out of them? I'm not sure it will. They have been inconsistent all season. Do I trust them in the same way I would if it was, say, Arsenal in this situation, even Manchester City if they win this competition? No, I don't trust them in the same way I would maybe trust those sides. So I can understand trying to oppose them. I'm maybe not as strong in trying to oppose them as I am on going on a different market here. My player is on the over goals, which I went on last weekend and which let us down, obviously, because it was only a 1-0 win to AZ Alkmaar last weekend. But I'm going to go in on this one again. It's over 2.75 goals. It's minus 148. So it's quite short. Some people might prefer over 3 goals on the Asian goal line, which I wouldn't talk anybody out of. I just feel that Tottenham are going to go for it. Yes, it's only a 1-goal deficit, but they're Tottenham. They're going to go for it at home here. They're one of the favourites to win the competition, and I think it will be an open match. I think they'll be really positive, but at the same time, I think AZ Alkmaar will be quietly confident because they did really well in the first leg. They did better than a lot of people felt. Can they score here? Yes, I think they can, because I think most decent teams against Tottenham can score. So I think it'll be an open game with goals, not just an open game. And that's why I like this goal line. I think having the over 3 goals having 3 goals paying out for you is what I wanted, really, because I can see it maybe having exactly 3 goals. I've gone 3-1 Tottenham on the correct score to get the job done just in 90 minutes, but my main play is the over 2.75 goals. So that would be my pick on the match, and it's at the moment it's minus 148.
And it's just been backed in, actually, whilst we've been live. It's now minus 165 for over 2.75 goals. Over 3 goals is at minus 129. There has been a lot of money for the goals in this tie. I think I've got written down, I think AZ plus 1.25 on the Asian handicap is maybe too tempting here for me at even money. But it all depends on how Spurs perform under pressure, isn't it? I mean, AZ are 1-0 up and they're plus 120 to qualify, which is unusual to say the least. I think plus 140 now to qualify AZ.
Yeah, I think if you look across the prices here, Steve, I think a lot of it is priced up on Tottenham's potential, what we think they can do, what they can do if they play to their best. But there's a lot of ifs involved in that because we're not really seeing it, are we? So then can they turn up and win a game like this 4-1 in normal time? I think they can. They can do that. They're second favourites in the competition behind Lazio at plus 550, even though they're a goal down from the first leg. It's remarkable in many ways that they're still favoured by the market. But like I said, I think that's to do with the potential we all think they've got, but they're not really showing it. So I wouldn't be surprised if people wanted to oppose them. Like I say, my way of sort of opposing them is to ignore those markets and to go on the goals instead.
I think AZ are well equipped to play in the Europa League with their style. Domestically, there's probably 2 or 3 better teams, but in Europe, they do raise their level and they're great on the counter-attack. Usually have got a goal threat. Both teams score, yes, is minus 141 here. I looked at that as well because I do think AZ will score and I wouldn't trust the Tottenham defence, but I think the plus 1.25 Asian handicap has got to be my bet here at even money. I think they can stay within 1 goal. And if this went to extra time penalties, I wouldn't be shocked either. I'm going to say 2-2. I'm actually going to put my neck out on the line and say Spurs get knocked out. You're going 3-1. You like that
3-1 Tottenham.
Bet. Yeah. And 97% of the money's on Spurs. That's no surprise. They are going to be a very popular bet here. If they play as they can, they could demolish them. But we haven't seen that version of Spurs that often this season. Lyon FCSB, we mentioned on the last show we did. Lyon, we thought were a good futures pick, and they delivered for you last week, James. 3-1 win in Romania there. Yeah. They don't need to win. They're minus 275 here. I mean, they'll go through, I think, for sure. I'd be really shocked if they blew that advantage. But in terms of the betting for the match, it's a tough one when we've got a game state like that, isn't it? How do you see Lyon going?
It's really tough. Well, I should say on the outright market, I think we flagged them up, didn't we? Because they were 9th favourites in this competition before this tie started. We thought that was crazy. We thought they were better than that. They were plus 2,000. Well, they're now into plus 1,200 because they've obviously got 1 foot in the quarterfinals. I still think they're too big at plus 1,200. They're 7th favourites to win this competition. I think they're a bit better than that. I think the situation with the manager, in a funny way, is a positive. For people that don't know, Paulo Fonseca has been hit with a very long domestic ban. We should say it's domestic. It doesn't apply in this competition, from the touchline and the dressing room before, during and after games because of an altercation he had with a referee. The response to the ban being handed out by the players and the staff has been really interesting. It's had quite a galvanizing effect. The players are fully behind the manager. He's had a lot of support, very visible support during and after matches. So in a funny way, it's brought everybody together at Lyon, and I still think they're a good bet in the outright market in this competition at plus 1,200. In terms of this game, it is difficult because Lyon are 3-1 up from the first leg. Interestingly, Lyon are the only team you cannot back in the to qualify market. It's not available because they're almost through. FCSB are plus 5,000 to go through, so the market sees this as all done. I had a look at a couple of player picks on this game. We know team news is important in this competition anyway. I think for a team like Lyon, who have got a 2-goal lead from the first leg, will they rotate? They might do. So a couple of players to look at in the over 0.5 shot on target market. The first one is Tessman, the midfielder. It wouldn't be a case of him rotating into the team. It might be a case of him rotating out of the team. He has been a starter recently, so you might want to wait for the team news, but he's plus 140 to manage over 0.5 shots on target. This is a player who's been hitting the target a lot in recent starts for Lyon, so you may want to look at that. The other player to look at would be Jordan Veretout. He's available at plus 180 in the over 0.5 shots on target market. The reason I'm flagging up Veretout is that he might start today. This is quite a high profile midfielder, former Roma and Marseille midfielder, who's lost his place in the Lyon side over the last 3 months. So if he plays today, in a game which I think they'll get chances, Lyon, to get forward. You might wonder if they're motivated as a team to win the game, which I understand. But if Veretout plays, I think he'll be motivated because he's had very, very few starts recently and he's dropped down the pecking order in midfield. So just have a look at him at plus 180 in the over 0.5 shots on target market if he starts, because if he does start, that is one player that will be trying to impress, I think, for Lyon tonight. But generally speaking, I can't see Lyon. I can't see them not winning on the night, really. I mean, it could end in a draw because they've got that two-goal lead from the first leg. I've gone 2-1 Lyon on the correct score market, but I wouldn't have a strong view on how it would go because I think Lyon will just make sure they get the job done and go through, which means it might end in a draw. FCSB have been pretty good in Europe this season, so I think in terms of playing for pride, we might see something from them tonight. Lyon to shade it for me, but I'd focus maybe on those player bets instead.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a conference on Europa League show without some player props from you, James.
Yes.
And I'm sure you'll be studying that Lyon lineup when it comes out and getting on someone there, no doubt about it. There's been a bit of action in the corners market here with Bet Rivers. Nearly $1,500 on Lyon, under 8.5 total corners at minus 385. And also a bit of action on FCSB, over 2.5 corners. Nearly over nearly $1,000 play on that. So a bit of corner action. Lovely Cells, welcome in from Canada. Let us know what your best bet is today. FEB obviously says Lyon -1. Justin's right. Lyon do have a fairly easy match this weekend domestically. I do believe it is Le Havre. So they should get that job done. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. In which case, both teams score, yes, might be overpriced at plus 108. I think that would be definitely quite a strong lean for me in this game because you know, FCSB, they do like the quality bit, but they've shown a lot of fight this season. Yeah. And I don't think they'll just go down with a whimper. They'll give it a good go. They'll get knocked out, but it could well be both. Plus money, I think that is worth a little go, actually. Expected it to be minus money. Into some more games. Man United, Real Sociedad. We had a lot of matches. Sorry, we had a lot of comments about this match at the top of the show. Man United, I've got to be honest, I was quite impressed with them for an hour last week. Surprisingly good in Spain. Yeah. And then it just seemed to, they gave the mistake away and it ended a 1-1 draw. Real Sociedad, very good technical team. I've got a feeling it might suit them more at Old Trafford than the first leg. -105 Man United. I wouldn't want to get involved in that. Another team, the whole season rests on this competition, so that is a factor. But I couldn't be backing them here. I've got to be looking at Real Sociedad. Draw double chance as an option and to qualify at plus 150 still. I think it's big on Real Sociedad. I think they can turn up here, get the job done. Does anyone in the comments support Man United? Anyone going to be betting on them? What do you think, James?
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I looked at these prices. I had a feeling Man United would be minus money to win on the night, and I don't think they should be. I think they should be plus money. I would be on Real Sociedad here. You're right. United were pretty good, weren't they, last weekend? It was a decent performance, certainly for some of the game, avoided defeat. But it did finish 1-1. There wasn't a huge amount, I suppose you could argue, to pick between the sides over the 90 minutes. And I tend to agree with you. I don't actually think playing away from home makes that much difference, really, to Real Sociedad. I think they are a pretty good side and they should enjoy actually playing at this venue. So I think Real Sociedad or tie on the double chance market would be the play here for me. -124. I think that's a great opportunity to be with them. I think the prices as well, like you, Steve, on the to qualify market are quite appealing for Real Sociedad, plus 150. Man United -200. I wouldn't want to get involved in. Should say, I mean, we're quite harsh on Man United in many ways because they've obviously struggled this season, but they have been pretty good in Europe. They are unbeaten in this competition, 5 wins and 4 draws. So they've shown they can compete in this competition. Everything's riding on it. And have they got a bit better in the last month or so, just in terms of their performance level? I think they probably have. They produced 1 or 2 good performances. You think about the Arsenal game as well at home in the Premier League. So it's going to be tough for Real Sociedad, but I just think the prices are slightly too short on United, which we've seen many times this season. And for that reason, I think Real Sociedad are the value play. So that would be my pick. It would be Real Sociedad or tie, which is available at -124.
Yeah, that's my pick as well. I do think the plus 150 to qualify is worth a go. And how is both teams to score? Yes, plus money, plus 102. I think it's only because of the reputation Real Sociedad have as this low-scoring team, but they've been involved in some certainly since the turn of the year, some higher scoring contests with BT to S. You're right, Kit Kat did wake up. He was actually starting to wake up when you were mentioning the player props in the Lyon game, James, and he's gone now. I actually think it's more in disgust of Man United.
I thought it might be
disgusted by them.
I thought it might be an anti-Jordan Veretout thing, but that's probably I'm not sure how much he follows League One. Just on the correct score there, Steve, I don't know what you think. I'm going 1-1 on this game at United. Yeah, I think the same as last week.
Yeah.
And, take it to extra time. And I saw a comment there. I missed the name, but on penalties, I can see this game going all the way.
Yeah, it's got to be a dramatic night at Old Trafford, hasn't it? You just feel it, can't you, in the air, tense and nervous, and goes on the long distance. Some sort of controversy on penalties even again. There is a house special here. Bruno Fernandes or Rasmus Højlund to score the first goal in this game, plus 200. Bruno, to be fair, good at home. You can trust him probably more than any other Man U player offensively anyway. So that, if you do like Bruno, I mean, Rasmus Højlund, when was the last time he did score?
Yeah,
but, he will probably be the starting striker here for them. The money is on Man United in this game, 89% of it, as you might expect. They're always going to be a popular team with everyone. 66% of the money is on the under in the over-under market, which that doesn't surprise me too much at all. We move on to the other late game. Rangers Fenerbahce. There was some comments earlier about how Rangers surprised a couple of people. They definitely surprised me. I've got to hold my hands up here. This was the match last week where I got it wrong in terms of both betting and also the read of the game, because I've got to say, Jose Mourinho was out-tacticked by Rangers. They were really surprised by the counter-attacking threat the Rangers had, and they went on to win this game. Fenerbahce have got to come back firing here. Mourinho, is he going to be out-tacticked again, or will he have a game plan to get at the Scottish team, do you think?
Well, it was a surprise to me as well. I don't think he will get out-tacticked again, Steve. I'm going with Fenerbahce here, which might surprise some people given how this tie went just last week. Rangers, brilliant, deserved the win. I just cannot see Mourinho. I was going to say get it wrong. I think that's a bit harsh, but I cannot see him come off second best as a manager 2 weeks in a row against Rangers. I don't see it happening. I think Rangers were fantastic last week. I think their price to qualify makes perfect sense given they've got this 3-1 lead in the tie. But I would be surprised to see Fenerbahce lose this tie home and away. So I'm trying to find a way to back them here. They're favourites to win on the night. I mean, the market hasn't overreacted to that Rangers win last week. Fenerbahce plus 140, as you can see there, to win in 90 minutes. Slightly tempted by that. My correct score pick is Fenerbahce to win 2-1. I've gone for more conservative play. I'm backing Fenerbahce tie no bet, which is minus 130. You get your money back in a tie no bet pick, obviously, if it ends in a tie. So that's my play on it, is Fenerbahce tie no bet at minus 130. Like I said, I think Mourinho will manage to get it more correct tonight. Whether it'll be enough to go through, I'm not sure. I mean, I've gone 2-1 Fenerbahce win. They'd go out, obviously, if they only win 2-1 over the two legs. So fantastic performance by Rangers so far. We are only halfway through. I think that we will see a different and better Fenerbahce performance tonight. So that would be my play on the game.
There's something about Rangers in Europe. I don't know what it is. They seem to raise their levels. I mean, they're awful domestically, aren't they? I mean, Celtic have won nearly every title in the last 10 years or so. But I think the extra room they get in behind in Europe really helps them out on the break. I've got this down as second best bet of the day, over 2.75 goals, minus 129, because they've got to go for it here. I mean, 2-0, they could win 2-0 and this bet could lose. But I do think Rangers can get on the board at some point. I'm going to predict what am I going to do here, James? I've got down 2-2 or 3-2 to Fenerbahce. Mourinho's not going to go down without a win for Izzy. Fenerbahce win the game, 3-2, and this could be a cracker. And he can respond here. But Rangers, there is something about them. I've got to be honest. I don't think I want to be betting against them too often in the future in Europe, especially in some of those away games where they do pretty well. Giuseppe Maracino says Fenerbahce is scoring both halves, plus 200, and the team total. That's a good team total, actually, isn't it, James? Even money for over 1.5.
It is. I think with some of these ties, we can sometimes overreact to a first leg. This would be one of the ties where I think if you felt Rangers might win 3-1 again, right? I mean, who knows? But I think this is one of the ties where you can potentially overreact to the first leg. As I say, Rangers were fantastic, but let's not forget what we thought before the first leg. We can't throw it all out the window. Fenerbahce were in amazing form, unbeaten in 18, I think it was, going into that. They'd won 13 of them. So was it an aberration last week? Yeah, it might not be an aberration. And I think most of it's credit to Rangers rather than anything else. But I do think this is one of the ties where you are dealing with a team who'd got a lot of underlying class and a lot of underlying good form. So I don't think all of that would have gone just because they lost last week. I can see them starting this game. And yeah, it's one of those where within 20, 30 minutes, we might have a completely different tie on our hands.
Yeah, I think this is a good match to watch. There could be some fireworks. And it's going to be potentially a little bit crazy. It's tight with the money split in this game, I might add. 53% of the money is on Rangers. So, it's really close there. 67% of the money is on the over. 2.5 ticket. Let's move to the conference late games. And usually a James Easton banker here. Chelsea are in action against FC Copenhagen. They got the win last week out there in Denmark. They're minus 360 to win the second leg. Don't need to win. Actually, they've drifted to minus 315 there, so I don't know whether someone knows a bit of team news that we don't. Minus 167 for over 2.5 goals. I mean, James, you normally back Chelsea on the show every time they're in, but not this time.
Not this time. No, I had a long, hard look at every single market. I couldn't, unfortunately, find a way to back Chelsea. The main reason being, Steve, you've said it, is because they're 2-1 up in the tie. And, obviously in the group stage, they were, I thought, really keen to prove a point. And that's almost on an individual basis where they were picking some of the players who didn't get a lot of game time in the Premier League. I thought that made Chelsea a really good handicap pick in those group matches. And they proved they were. They had some really big wins as players went out to show they should be getting more game time in the Premier League. Now it's a little bit different. We're into the two legs of a knockout tie. Will they play with as much sort of emphasis on attacking if they're 2-1 up? I'm not sure they will. They're short odds to win the game in 90 minutes. They've obviously come in a little bit, like you say. There's no value in backing them to qualify because it's already almost over. Plus, they're more than minus 3,335 to qualify. That's all over. So I struggled here. I have liked them on the handicap in lots of games this season where the price on Chelsea on the handicap has been quite appealing based on the fact they were going to play some of their backup players who have then performed really well. Here, like I say, with a 2-1 lead, I'm not so sure the handicap is as appealing. Correct score, I've gone 3-1 to Chelsea. I think they can do that to Copenhagen, even though they don't need to, because Copenhagen will come out swinging here to try to claw back that 1-goal deficit, and that should give Chelsea chances. But in terms of the prices, I think they're pretty much fair here. A comment there from Nish saying the line is too short. Fair or too short, whichever way you want to look at it, I struggle to find anything. So I think this game will be instructive. First time we've obviously seen Chelsea in a knockout tie in the competition this season. How will they play it with a 1-goal lead? Well, we'll find out tonight. But no bet or no pick for me on this game this time.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. I'm not going to bet on this game either. I think Nish sums it up perfectly there. Can't be sure if they show up or just defend and poke around. Yes. They have a massive game on Sunday in the Premier League against Arsenal. If they win that game, they're actually going to go 3 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League table, would you believe? So I think that's got to be the focus. They just want to get the job done here, go through. If they have to respond to a Copenhagen goal, they will do, I think. But they ideally just get the result they need. So I'm not interested. Someone said live betting is maybe a good idea here, and I would agree potentially with that. See what the game state is going on. We've got Viktoria Guimarães against Real Betis now. A great result for the Portuguese team in the first leg, a 2-2 draw, but they're still the dog. Plus 225 to win the second leg. Real Betis plus 120. I still maintain the La Liga team should be getting through against the Portuguese team, especially one of Real Betis' quality. Beat Real Madrid recently. Top 6 in La Liga. I'm not going to back them on the money line, but I am going to back them on the minus 0.25 Asian handicap. At minus 112, I think, is the price here. Yeah, minus 112. Real Betis, I mean, it could be a draw. It could go extra time. I just still think that La Liga is side here is better, not massively better, but there should be a golfing class, which ultimately in the second leg proves apparent.
Yeah, well, we said it before the first leg last week, where they were in similar positions in their own domestic leagues, but the Spanish league is the stronger of the two leagues. So maybe it didn't play out in terms of the scoreline last weekend with the game finishing, and not last weekend, last week with the game finishing 2-2. But over 180 minutes, the more games you play, the more likely for me it is that the better side should show up and get the win. So I don't have a pick on the game. I think the prices are about right. Betis are still the favourites, like you say. They're the favourites to win in 90 minutes. They're the favourites to qualify. I've gone 2-1, correct scoreline. I nearly went 1-1, like you say, to go to extra time. I think Joe Bamba's saying the same there. In the end, I feel that Real Betis might just get the win here and avoid needing extra time or penalties. So that's my correct score prediction. It's 2-1 to Betis, but yeah. Don't have a pick or a lean on it because it's from what we saw last week, it could be quite a tight game.
How the times have changed. We've got suggestions, so many suggestions in chat about Anthony to score or assist, Anthony to score. If you want to back him, he is plus 290 to score anytime. That is Anthony Matias dos Santos to give him his full title. He's been going really well for Real Betis here. I don't see them losing in 90 minutes, so that minus a quarter ball bet on Betis for me. I'm going to say 2-1 win to Real Betis in this game. What are you saying, James? Yeah,
2-1 win to Real Betis for me as well.
Yeah, someone was on about both teams scoring that match as well. I would agree with that. I think there's a good chance of B2TFC. Yes, two more games to talk about. You've got a bet in this one. Fiorentina, Panathinaikos. I got this one really wrong first leg. I said under, didn't I? And Panathinaikos would struggle. It ended 3-2. Fair play to the Greek side. I don't know where they dug it from. Yeah. Fiorentina are in a little bit of a hole here. I wanted to back them, to be honest, James, but minus 225. I can't be getting involved there, and handicaps as well. You've got a bet in the goal, actually minus 235 now. They've been backed. I mean, they could kick off minus 250 or more here. You like the over goal line?
I do like the over goal line. I think Fiorentina are a risky bet at the moment. We've seen it in Serie A, haven't we, really, since the turn of the year. They've been, I was going to say inconsistent, but they've almost been consistently poor in terms of results. I think they've lost 5 of their last 6 now in all competitions. Not necessarily getting outplayed. If you watch them in Serie A, they've been competitive in games, but I think some of the games where they were picking up points in the first half of the season, now they're not. 3-2 defeat in the first leg last week is obviously a blow. I think Panathinaikos come here and are fairly confident, actually. I mean, Fiorentina are the favourites to go through. They're minus 125 to qualify. Wouldn't be a massive surprise if they did, because they are only a goal down. But like you say, Steve, I don't trust them anyway. And at the prices that are on Fiorentina, minus 225, minus 235 to win the game, absolutely no chance on that. Given how they're playing, I see a comment there from Joe Bamber. I'm always keen to score tonight. I did have a look at that because, he is out of a scoring form, and I don't think that will last for very long. But in the end, I've gone for over goals. I think minus 114 on over 2.5. You're not looking at over 2.75 here or over 3 goals. You're looking at over 2.5 goals at minus 114. I think is a pretty good price given what we saw last weekend. And I think Fiorentina, like I say, they're going to have a go for it because they're a goal down. But I think Panathinaikos will be fairly confident. I think when you've scored 3 goals in the first leg of a tie, then you go to the second leg thinking you can cause the opposition problems. So really good chance here for me to see 3 or more goals in the game, and I think minus 114 is a good price on that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to predict 2-1 win here for Fiorentina. Though, I mean, I guess the question for their backers is: are they going to cover a handicap? They should win, I think. What are you going? 2-1, 3-1?
I'm going 2-2. I'm going 2-2.
Wow.
Yeah. So Panathinaikos to be one of the surprise qualifiers. Do you know as well? I think it shows. We've said so many times, should Chelsea be minus money in the outright market before the first legs when the 16 teams? When Fiorentina were the second favourites, weren't they? And they've lost the first leg 3-2. I think it shows why Chelsea were so much shorter than everybody else. So I'm going 2-2 here on the correct score, for Panathinaikos to cause an upset.
Now, if you are right there, James, that opens up this side of the draw. One of Lugano or Celje would be facing potentially Panathinaikos. If Real Betis then were to go through, would Real Betis be a good bet outright, do you think, on the futures to come through?
Yeah, I think they would be. And I think if they don't go through, do we start to look at teams like Jagiellonia to go potentially all the way to the final? So listen, there's a lot riding on this Fiorentina game because they are the class act, I still believe, on paper in that side of the draw, but they are 3-2 down from the first leg, and they're not playing well domestically. So there are reasons to suspect that they could go out. They could be a surprise loser. So anybody who feels that, now might be the time to have a look at the outright market on that side of the draw before Fiorentina do get knocked out. Fully capable of winning it, fully capable of going through, but I just feel at the moment they're not a team I would trust.
One final match, someone was just asking about it. Lecce Warsaw against Molde. There's been quite a bit of money for Lecce Warsaw today. -143 to win on the money line. The goal line has just gone through the roof. This was a 2.5 goal line. And you're now looking at nearly a 3.5 goal line for the 3.25 goal line. Yeah. Now, I did like over 2.75 here, but I don't think I can be taking over 3.25, James. It just seems too high. And someone mentioned earlier in the comments, and I looked at this, the weather in Warsaw in Poland today has been really bad, rain all the way through. How is that going to affect the pitch? We could get potentially a waterlogged pitch here. Now, some would argue that's going to generate goals. Some would argue it's not going to generate goals. My opinion, it can go either way, but I'm always reluctant when the pitch could be that bad for goals to be scored. So I can't get involved. I mean, I actually had this down as a 2-1 win for Lecce, and I'm still going to stick with that. But the weather could play havoc potentially here. If it was normal, I think I would definitely smash the overs all day long. I'm not going to get involved now in this game. Molde went 3-0 up last week, and then Lecce came back.
Yeah.
How do you see it going?
Well, I'm the same as you. I've got no lean or pick on this game. I think it does look like it's going to be an open game. I think Lecce Warsaw are going to obviously be positive here. They're a goal down. I've actually gone 1-1 on the correct score here. But I don't have a strong view on it. I think the prices are probably fair. Molde are clear favourites to qualify. They're -148 there. Lecce Warsaw are +115. So I'm taking a watching brief on this. But I think with the weather, and also you mentioned the goals price. When a goal price swings that much, you have to ask why. Was the market completely wrong in the first place, or have we had some team news, or what's the reaction all about? My view on that is, unless you know or think you know what's going on, I would tend to leave that alone even more. So I didn't have a view on the goals. Some people who, like me, I mean, I'm saying a 1-1 correct score. It might lead you to think, well, what a great opportunity now to go on unders. But I wouldn't do that unless I knew or felt I knew what was going on. So no pick or lean or bet on this game for me, but 1-1 is my correct score prediction.
I love your confidence in Molde. I'm going to get you a Molde shirt, I think, James. Someone's at my door, and I'm going to get someone to answer that for me. What's your best bet of the day, or best two bets of the day?
Yeah, so my best bet of the day is the Eintracht Frankfurt versus Ajax bet that I went for. That was over 2.75 goals at -113. That would be my number one bet of the day. My second bet of the day is going to be Fenerbahce. The Tino bet at Rangers, -130. Like I say, some people might be surprised by that, but I think Mourinho, he will put up a better show tonight. So they'd be my two main plays of the day.
Yeah, I'm going Olympiakos Bodo Glimt over 2.75 goals is my best bet of the day. Same goal line over in the Rangers Fenerbahce game would be my second best bet of the day. And Nish, I really appreciate that. I know you've been profiting from these live shows. And I certainly we've done really well on the Europa show this year, James. I just want to say thanks very much again for going through. We've gone over an hour today. This is the last of the really big cards, and we've been incredible. The last, I think, 4 to 6 of them. But greatly enjoyable, as always, to pick your brains. And hopefully we can sign off this round with some more winners. So best of luck, James, and thanks very much.
Cheers. Thanks as ever, Steve. Been a great show. And let's hope we have some more winners on the show tonight.
And thanks very much, everyone who joined us live today. Ranjiv Singh Gandhi-Hook, well done yesterday with the NBA winner that you put up on the chat. And he's put up another bet there today. So you might want to follow that one in the NBA. It's great for the great community in here, all the comments and stuff that we're getting a lot. And reminder, do subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter if you've not already. There's going to be a newsletter every weekend now on main soccer weekends. And we're going to got power rankings, we've got match previews, all sorts of stuff. We've even got, I can tell you now, we've got exclusive picks from Dan Roebuck and even the graphics man, John, has got a pick on this newsletter coming up. So best of luck, whatever you're taking today. Remember to gamble responsibly. Let's absolutely crush this Europa and Conference League round. I'll be back tomorrow with Jack Wright on Betting Weekly Live. But until then, take care, everyone, and stay safe. See you next time.